Hello and welcome to the Early Chat brought to you by Chopin TV. My name is Nasif Shalagwe. Thanks a lot for joining us on the program today. As you all know, the Early Chat is a show where we feature informed guests to talk about various issues. Joining me on the program today is the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC. I have here in the studio Comrade Ahmed Aliyu Oloje. He will be talking to me about his plan for the people of Kwara State. Thanks a lot for joining us on the program, sir.
Thank you, Comrade.
Okay, so let's get started very quickly. Your name seems to be a new name in Kwara politics. Can you briefly take us through journey about your political career?
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, the moderator. My name is Comrade Ahmed Aliyu Oloje. Once again, I'm the governorship candidate of African Action Congress, which people know as Showore Party. I've been involving myself in politics since my early childhood, let me say that, because my father happened to be a politician, and I was brought up under his tutelage. So I've been involving myself in effective mobilization of youth under him. So today I'm not just coming out, I'm not new to politics. So in 2011, I was an House of Rep aspirant under CPC. So in 2015, I was also an House of Rep for Ilorin West House of Rep constituency under PDP. So we are together with this present governor. So under ACN, CPC, PDP, and even this APC before I left the party recently.
Okay, thank you very much. During your party's primary election, how do you emerge? Is it through consensus or you go into primary election with your opponents?
As we all know, that African Action Congress and some other party like that are new to Kwara. So we are two that fight for the ticket, but at the end of the day, before we conducted the primary, so my co-contender stepped down for me. So I emerged through consensus.
Okay, so now let's talk about your aspiration. When we take a look at things, you are one of the youngest candidates in the governorship race. Why do you want to become a governor?
Well, as we all know that the development president of Kwara State demand innovation and radical approach to governance. I believe we've not been having it so good in terms of the people who propose as our leaders. The fundamental entitlement of citizens and the basic need for a productive life were basically found lacking in our people due to the lack of ideas, charisma, and the synergy and energy to mobilize people and resources to turn around things. If you assess the situation of things in Kwara, take for example Ilorin Metropolis, you will discover that Ilorin has become a mega slum city. It is only the GRA that is well planned. Our central neighborhood across the Ilorin still remain what it is in the last 30-40 years. So all this kind of situation used to calls for attention of critical stakeholders in the project Kwara, that we cannot continue to be folding our arm and believe everything will fall. So we have to do something. We have to come out. We have to let people know what they have in the upstairs. We have to mobilize the youth for effective leadership. The government is going directionless. So, and I believe as a young man, as a developmental economics, have a lot to offer the good people of Kwara State.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. Many people will say one must have done or contributed one way or the other to the development of his society before he can seek for people's votes. What do you think you've done for the people of Kwara to deserve their votes?
Well, thank you. I was a lead consultant for African Grassroots Women Empowerment Foundation, a well-recognized NGO that have its operation in Kwara and Oyo State. So and I've been involving myself in processes, in project executions and monitoring of several projects within Kwara and Oyo State. We have sunk a lot of boreholes in Kwara and Oyo State. We have constructed a lot of schools through bilateral and multilateral development assistance. So, and some other projects like that I have project and processes that I've involved myself in. So I believe I'm not new to contribution. And if you ask anybody, especially the so-called politician in Ilorin, so we have been doing wonders to make sure we contribute to the life of the underserved and underprivileged people of our local government, which is Ilorin West, and some other local government that cut across Kwara Central.
Okay, so let's move away from that. Like I said earlier, you're one of the youngest candidates in the governorship race. As a young person, do you think you have what it takes to wrestle power from the two major political parties? I'm talking about the PDP and APC. Do you think your party has what it takes to wrestle power from these two major political parties?
Thank you, my brother. As we all know that the last election, the 2019 election, isn't all about money. Our people are tired of the last administration and they want something new. So I believe this time around, the present government has every opportunity to turn around the narrative of the state. But if we can assess the present situation we find ourselves, we will discover that the government is going directionless. The people that surrounded the government, even though the governor has a good intention of turning around the state, the people that surrounded him have monopolized things. They are not a good manager. So, and secondly, it's as if they have hypnotized the governor. Because as I know him, I'm not new to him, he's not new to me. I know him very well. But these days things are just going, you can see from all the parties that are springing up, YPP, SDP, and the rest of them, NMP. So if they can manage people, we wouldn't have found ourselves in the situation we find ourselves today. So, but I believe as a young man, as a developmental economics, I have a robust agenda to turn around Kwara State to a prosperous and livable state in Nigeria.
Okay, very quickly now, if you were elected tomorrow, what would be your first assignment?
My first assignment is, one, we can all observe that Kwara has become a bigger state in terms of population and unplanned growth. First thing I'll do is to conduct election, the local government election, and I will make sure within 120 days of our administration, we create Ilorin Municipal Area Council and local council development areas within all the spheres of Kwara State to make sure development reach our people at the grassroots.
Okay, so now you represent the youth constituency. What will be your plan for the young people in the state?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. One, we have to develop the capacity of our youth to make sure they were educative, to make sure they have the best resources at their disposal to achieve the desired goal. One, we'll make sure we go into tech economy. You can see the countries that are developing today or that are developed, they are doing wonders. A state like California in America, you can see the way they are doing wonders in tech. We can also replicate such a thing in Kwara. We can channel the thinking of our youth to be productive in technology. Instead of them to be embarking on all these online fraud and the rest of them, they can become a billionaire. Look at California, for example, the so-called area they call Silicon Valley. You will discover that the Google, Facebook, and the rest of them, the people who are making it down there, they are not better off than we do. What they have is a good government and the right policy, which we believe we are going to initiate by the time we come on board, inshallah, come 2023.
Okay, we'll be changing the conversation now, but before we do, I would like you to just give a comment, I would like you to rate the performance of the current administration in Kwara. I'm talking about the administration of Ahmed Aliyu. You said you guys you were in APC before, so you should know about his administration. So very briefly, how would you rate his performance since he assumed office?
Well, I'll conclude that His Excellency Governor Ahmed Aliyu has tried his best within his ability and capacity. But to me, as a young man who has a clear-cut ideas of what modern development entails, I believe he hasn't met the expectation of the generalities of Kwarans.
Okay, so now before we change the conversation, now that the 2023 election is fast approaching, we've been seeing politicians doing a lot of philanthropist gesture. Don't you think, or don't you see it as a way of vote buying?
Yes, I'll conclude that is a strategy being employed by the people who doesn't have a clear manifesto, who doesn't have an agenda to present to the people, to convince the people that this is what we are going to do for you. That is why they employ the strategy of vote buying through the means of giving out money, dashing out goods to people. So if you have a good ideas and you believe you can perform, you don't have to buy the conscience of the people.
Okay, now so let's change the conversation. I'll be talking about your presidential candidate. We'll be talking about your party at the national level. Your presidential candidate, Ahmed Aliyu Oloje, will be contesting against Ahmed Aliyu of the All Progressive Congress and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. We have Peter Obi from Labour Party, and we have Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso from NNPP. Do you think your candidate, has the political structure to battle these people?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. One of the challenges we are facing in this country is the fact that we've not been giving the rightful people, the people who will take a proactive action to change the situation of the country. Take an instance, Ahmed Aliyu Oloje is a guy with good ideology to change things. And he's a youthful man. Most of the Nigerian youth are supposed to queue behind him because we have the active and productive population. If we are to look at Europe presently and the North American, let me say Canada. The Canada Prime Minister is a young man. A host of countries in Eastern and Western Europe are young people. They give them the opportunity to serve their nation. We can do something like that. We have tried all the old people in Nigeria. We discovered they don't have anything to give us. Let the young people come up. Let the young people come on board. See, let's try them. Let's try them. Let's give them the opportunity to change things for us. You can't continue because the way as it is now, we are just within the vicious circle of directionless and poverty. They were not able to change our narrative for us. But someone like Ahmed Aliyu Oloje believe he is an ideological man and is a welfarist who believe he can do a lot for Nigerians, and we believe in him. So we should give him an opportunity to turn around things.
Okay, so now we have just a few seconds to round up on the show. I would like you to, give a word of advice. We are approaching the political era in Kwara. The election is just some months away now, so I would like you to give your word of advice to the people of the state.
Fellow Kwarans, I want to implore you, as a young man, as a developmental economist, at this stage, we need a cerebral technocrat. We need people who has ideas of how to navigate us through the present challenges we are finding ourselves. You will discover that Kwara is operating a monolithic economy, a civil servant domineering state, and the global pandemic and the climate crisis require a multifaceted development ideas and people who can be able to change the narrative for us. So I want to implore and appeal to Kwara to support a young man like me who is not interested in material things, but to change our state for better. Thank you.
All right, we've come to the end of the show. We've been talking with the governorship candidate of AAC in Kwara State, Comrade Aliyu Ahmed Oloje. He has talked to us about his plan for the people of Kwara State, and he has taken us through a journey of how he started his political career. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe across all our social media platforms. My name still remains Nasif Shalagberu. See you next week.